Mavericks fall to the Pelicans last night. I thought the Pelicans might have lost their legs because they were on the second of a back-to-back. They're sitting there at 1-6, probably an all-time low. Cooper Flagg had a great look to tie it up. I mean, and some of this is shots are not falling, and I understand that from Jason Kidd. I don't know if the team is that bad, but that's miserable. And looking at some of the numbers here, Bobby Carella posted they have the lowest relative offensive rating in the history of the league. Like, think of the worst offense you can possibly imagine, and for a lot of people, that might be last year's Washington Wizards. Mm-hmm. This team, 30% worse with their relative offensive rating, which compares them to the rest of the league at the time, so it's time-controlled. I mean, going back into the late 90s, you scored 99 points. That was a terrific night. Mm-hmm. You know, you were maybe leading the league in offense. There was the rare 100-point game there, that very slow and depressing time of NBA basketball. But compared to their peers, the Mavs are historically the worst. Hopefully they don't finish the season like that. I mean, obviously, we all want them to rally and make the playoffs and everything, but, I mean...
Do we, though?
Yeah, I was going to ask you. On the other side of it, like, raise your hand at 877-881-1053. How many people out there are kind of like, sweet, that was awesome, we're going to get a better draft pick, and maybe get Nico fired, maybe force their hand to trade players? Like, I'm not a big team tank guy, especially this early in the season, but right now there's just too many benefits to it. I was kind of pleasantly pleased last night when that game ended. I'm like, cool, they lost again. I'm like, what is this feeling I'm having about this team right now? But I think it's the Nico hate boiling inside of me, Chief.
Yes, that has a lot to do with it. Nobody wants Nico to be proven right here. And so it's that weird thing. It's that weird thing where anytime you want your team to tank, you still are watching the game and like you want them to win. You have these like sort of mixed emotions or whatever. Yeah. But it really is so bad right now. And everything about it is as frustrating as it gets. Apparently, Ron Knows Sports on Twitter, who covers the Mavericks for All City Dallas, Ron Herod Jr., he said that the Mavs were playing Drake's song Marvin's Room at shoot-around yesterday. Okay. He said the players still seem to enjoy being around each other, but he said the vibe felt sad and dark. Like, Marvin's Room is not one of the Drake bangers that you hear at the club, right? That's when you kind of are getting into your feels. A
little emo Drake?
Yeah, this is some emo Drake. And even Tim Cato commented and said throwing Marvin's Room on the speakers at practice is flat-out insane behavior.
Well, that is not practice music, by the way.
Okay.
That's not practice music, fam.
I'm just saying you could do better.
That's 2 a.m. on your way home from the club with no woman. Right. You lost.
You lost. You took a L, bro.
It's a lonely Saturday night song.
That's the pregame music that they are trying to get in game mode with right now? I don't know. I mean, you allegedly have Klay Thompson at one point during the proceedings last night going up to a fan, guy sitting courtside. He's wearing a Doncic jersey. And Klay was walking by about to check in, and he just randomly points to the jersey and says, I miss that guy.
Ouch.
You have Najee Marshall commenting on a Luka post with him on the Lakers last night, being lethal, and the Lakers getting another victory with just sad face emojis on the Luka picture. I mean, that is where the team is, and that is certainly where the fan base is right now. The Mavericks lost at home to the Pelicans, who are a disaster class without Zion. They were on the second night of a road back-to-back.
Yeah.
And they couldn't even score 100 points.
Yeah.
What we're watching right now is as bad as you imagined it was going to be post-Luka trade. That's what we're witnessing right now. The only saving grace is you do have Cooper Flagg, who did look nice last night. Credit to him. Shout out to the alley-oop.
Created a lot of good looks.
Finishing with the left, rock and roll. I did, in that moment, at the end of the game, you want that Flagg shot to hit with 3.9 seconds to go, even though you also want to punch Nico Harrison right in the jugular.
Yeah. I think internally they're probably saying, well, we need AD, Kyrie, and Lively healthy, and then everything is going to be different. How much different will it be?
That is so funny to me. You built the most fragile roster in sports. That's what you did. So it's like you can talk about Anthony Davis being healthy, Kyrie Irving being healthy, Derek Lively being healthy. We've never seen it.
They probably will never be healthy again all at the same time.
No.
And if they are, it'll be for a very short period of time.
Yeah, you'll get random moments here or there, and it's like, wow, that was a fun 2 quarters of basketball. That was a fun 4 quarters of basketball. But lurking around the corner is Anthony Davis, Derek Lively, and we'll see about Kyrie. But, I mean, dude, this whole thing is just, it was built on a
thin ice.
Yes, and just a total misevaluation. Like this was Nico Harrison being emotional. Didn't like Luka anymore. He overvalued Anthony Davis at the highest level. And you can talk about if we were healthy. Let's not be surprised. Let's not act like this is prime LeBron James all of a sudden getting hurt and we've never seen it before, right? These are guys that are synonymous with being injured.
Yeah. Yeah, and
your dead balls last in the West.
Yes, last place in the West, sitting here with just 2 wins. I guess I expect things to be better, but I mean, Eric, I think you make some great points. I don't know how much better that it can be, and again, you get what you kind of pay for when you bring in a shoe executive, and I think so much more now makes sense about how big of a mistake that was to bring in a guy that really didn't understand basketball construction and how things move together. I mean, you had an entire offseason to look at that and say, wow, we don't have nearly enough offense, and you really didn't change much. So at this point, I can only draw the conclusion that you just don't know how important it is, to get offensive players, or perhaps you're in denial. And I think that's another big part of the problem. Like, I wouldn't trust Nico to suddenly have the light bulb come on. He still sees Kyrie and AD as championship-level players.
Yeah.
So you got to get somebody new in here. And beyond that, they really need a cleaner break from the Luka trade. They need to bring in players that weren't here when that happened. Maybe coaches. Obviously, I feel that way about the GM, but I think it's going to weigh heavily. And for Klay Thompson to say that, for Najee Marshall to be on social media saying that, whenever you go through a tough time like this, it's going to be like, well, yeah, of course, we traded Luka. This is a stupid organization. It's kind of like the defense with Micah right now, maybe not buying in because they're so ticked off at everything that happened.
I was thinking the exact same thing.
Yeah,
it's hard to buy in when you feel like your own organization is actively playing defense against you doing anything fun in terms of winning.
Yeah,
right. I mean, Klay Thompson came here under the notion that he was going to be getting fed wide open looks from Luka, and now he's having to come off the bench and watch D'Angelo Russell just embarrass himself.
Yeah, they were down 9-0 before you even got the TV on. With turnovers and easy opportunities at the rim, and they made a really good comeback. Like, you can see the effort is there, the skill is there, and the Pelicans are that bad that they let them back in the game. But, I mean, they weren't ready to play is what that first 5 minutes told me.
And then at the end of the game, how many fourth quarter turnovers did they have? I mean, you have Skin on the broadcast talking about Vaseline balls. Yeah. Like, there's Vaseline on these balls. It's just slipping out of everybody's hands.
That's what Puff Daddy was looking for, by the way. That's why he's in jail.
I think you would say, careful. Devin Harris did say, is it Vaseline or baby oil? He actually said that on the broadcast last night.
Yeah, I mean, from personal experience, I think Vaseline could have helped last night. But that's neither here nor there. Okay, so they'll take on the Grizzlies tomorrow. They're at Memphis tomorrow. The Ja Morant trade deadline is starting to kick up, and it's interesting for a couple of reasons. Number one, it's drawing comparisons. Apparently, the insiders are comparing it to the Kyrie Irving trade that the Mavericks made, what was that now, 3 years ago, 4 years ago? The Kyrie Irving story was remarkable and interesting from a Ja Morant perspective because they're saying it might be a similar compensation package that could secure Morant because of how much his reputation has taken a hit. There was a story last week that a lot of coaches say they don't want to coach Ja Morant. He's got that uncoachable tag. And maybe that's a perfect job for Jason Kidd once again, who has had Kyrie Irving in the best headspace that he's been in for his career. So the Nets in that deal got from the Mavs Spencer Dinwiddie, Dorian Finney-Smith, and a 2029 unprotected first-round pick plus 2 second-rounders. I don't think Ja Morant fits right now with the Mavs because you'd have him and Kyrie Irving. But if there's any way to make that happen, those are the kind of trades that I think could maybe change the trajectory of where this franchise is headed.
Yeah, and I like it in theory because you're talking about a thoroughbred point guard who can score, high-flying, all those things. But that is another guy who, despite the whatever you want to call it, the character kind of stuff, he's also another guy who gets banged up.
Yeah.
He's a guy who gets injured at that size.
And he stopped high flying as much to try to cut it down.
Right,
yeah,
right.
But there's only so much.
Yeah, there's only so much. Like that's a huge part of his skill set and what made him one of the top picks that he was, right? What made him so great to start his career. But that's another guy who gets injured a lot. And I don't think you want to go ahead and double down on more injury-prone dudes.
Yeah.
That would be my pushback, even more so than the other stuff and malcontent or whatever it is that he's got going on there. I'm sure I'd be annoyed playing for that team as well at times, but the injury stuff would be my big concern.
Yeah, and for that reason, it might not be something you're that interested in. Plus, he's probably 8 to 10 years older than Cooper Flagg right now, so does it really match the Cooper Flagg timeline? You're probably looking, if you're making trades, you're looking for players under 25, maybe future draft picks if you're parting guys with expiring contracts coming back, but it's hard to, see the way out right now. I am kind of surprised at how down the locker room was last night. Like you said before the game, they're playing Drake. Like last night, they looked like a team that had just kicked away a 10-game division lead with a month to go in the regular season. Like the level of depression and anxiety about the losing is definitely hit Cooper Flagg, Jason Kidd, and I'm sure they're going to play better eventually, but how much better? Will they ever get back above 500 this year? I don't know. And I was pretty dang confident in this team coming in. But the other thing on Morant is, with Cuban and Kidd, they did a tremendous job taking players out of toxic situations. I mean, it wasn't just Kyrie Irving, but, Mark Cuban was finding players in the back half of Dirk's career and bringing them in, guys like Monte Ellis and O.J. Mayo, and finding good, comfortable spots for them to resume their career. And obviously the crown jewel of that is Kyrie Irving. I think now, instead of like a comforting place, the Mavs are one of the toxic situations that players would want to escape.
Right.
Like I'm starting to wonder, when are we going to get the P.J. Washington request for a trade? When is Najee Marshall going to say, I didn't come here to do this, send me somewhere else? And, I feel like Kyrie and AD are kind of at the hip with Nico. I don't think they will request a trade. I think they want to kind of see this thing through. Kyrie just did an extension. AD was traded here. He wants to make Nico right. But I just don't think this is a spot where you could bring in like that distressed asset and have him be like, oh man, this is so much better than where I was. Thank you for providing me this great positive working environment that, Mark Cuban insisted on and Jason Kidd insisted on, at least on the basketball side, that allowed those players to sort of relax and stop being defensive and feel like everybody's out to get them, like Kyrie Irving did in Brooklyn. He didn't feel like the team had his back.